You are listening to the In Between Sales Calls podcast with Derek Shebby, episode 69. Welcome, everyone. A question I've been asking a lot of the people I've been working with is this. Who are you looking up to in your life? Who inspires you? It's funny. This question comes up and I get answers all across the spectrum. I want to know who you get inspired by too, by the way. So think about who that is. But the people tell me are anywhere from their parents to professional athletes. I hear a lot of Kobe Bryant's. I hear a lot of Steve Jobs as people that inspire them. Elon Musk, from what he's able to accomplish as a professional, obviously. Things like that. People get inspired by certain individuals. And I ask them why. And I'm curious for you too. Why do they inspire you? Those people that you look up to in your life. Why do they inspire you? And the answers I typically get back are a story about the struggle that individual had earlier on in their life and how they overcame this struggle, like this against all odds scenario. If you look at Apple and specifically Steve Jobs as an example, the guy was adopted. He grew up adopted. And if you think about just how that might affect you mentally, in your life, he accomplished some incredible things, right? Another person that always inspired me was Michelangelo. And especially the story about how he eventually was chosen to do the statue David. He was commissioned to do it. But the person he had to beat was Leonardo da Vinci. So he had to beat someone that was a complete legend, and how he went from nobody to that. No matter what it is, when we look at people that inspire us, like I mentioned, there's always some sort of struggle, right? There's always a struggle. And the stories that we remember about these individuals is how they got through the struggle and they kept going forward to achieve their goal. And they eventually achieved legendary status. And we're still talking about them today, obviously. Thinking about sales though, whenever I talk to individuals, I hear BS stories all the time. Just head trash. Things that don't make any sense. Things are stories that people tell themselves and tell other people about why they can't get something done. Yeah, just hear me playing a violin in the background. Give me a break. Hey, Derek, I don't want to prospect over the phone. I'm much better face to face. Or, Derek, there's no need for us to do this on Fridays. No one's in the office on Fridays. Or, hey, Derek, can we just agree? All the products are the same, right? Whatever it is, they're all stories. And I hear this and I'm thinking about these legends and these people that inspire me and inspire all of us. And I think, what if they believed those stories when they were starting out? Well, probably guess it. They probably wouldn't have accomplished anything because they would have never done what it took. Michelangelo would have never tried to beat Leonardo da Vinci once he heard that he was up against him. Steve Jobs would have never tried to do anything because he said, maybe he was adopted and he wasn't going to amount to anything. Who knows what's going on in these people's minds? But my job as a coach, as a sales coach and as a leader is to clean up all this trash, all these trash stories that I hear people say out loud. And I hear a lot of them every single day. And I got to come in and I got to help you clean up that trash. Do you think these people we look up to, the people that we've looked up to over the years, do you think they had head trash too? Well, of course they did. Of course they had head trash. Of course they thought they doubted themselves and they worried about their future and they worried if they were good enough or not. Of course they did. I want to tell you a quick story about one of the salespeople that are in my Outliers group. So before this guy was in my group, I didn't realize it, but he had been checking out my posts on LinkedIn and it was inspiring him and I was an inspiration for him. And the things that we were doing inside of this Outliers group was inspiring him. And so he joins the group and he out of the blue sends me a link. He's texts me a picture. Out of the blue, he sends me this picture of the 10 places he was going to cold call that day. And I wasn't asking for it. I wasn't expecting him to send me this. But he sends me this picture. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, great. Go for it. And by the way, this person didn't know my processes yet. He didn't know exactly how to do what he's doing. But he was just fired up. He said, I'm gonna write my own success story. I'm gonna get after it. I'm just gonna make it happen. I'm gonna take control of my destiny. And I'm just gonna cold call. I don't even know what I'm doing. So he cold calls these 10 places. And I'll never forget this. I was at a baseball camp with my son. He's learning how to be a good pitcher. And I'm at this camp, and this guy calls me up, and it's late his time because he's in the East Coast. And he calls me, says, Derek, just want to let you know, I cold called those 10 places. I want to follow up with you. And I set an appointment. And we're talking about this, and he's so excited. He went after it. He faced his fears. He's creating his own destiny. He's not listening to the doubt in his mind. He's taking action. And I couldn't have been more excited for him. So I was like, great job. That's awesome. Anyway, fast forward to Wednesday. So like 4 days later, he sends me a message. He said, Derek, you'll never believe what happened. I said, what? He said, I got a deal at that account, that place that I cold called. And the size deal that he got was equivalent to almost 1 month's budget, if you want to put it in perspective. So it was a massive deal. And I said, great deal. I said, when did that start? He said, this was the appointment I set last week, Derek. This is that net new I broke into last week. I just got it. And he was so excited. He said, this is so empowering. I can't believe this. And I said, I can. You're taking charge of your story. You're taking charge of your story, of your success story. Fired up. I was excited for him. A few minutes later, he sends me a picture on his phone. And it was a picture of something that was on his wall. So if you think about the wall inside of in your office, and you put things on your wall, you put talk tracks on your wall, you put goals on your wall, things like that. Well, he had this picture on the wall, and it looked like it was a printout that he printed from something, and he just taped it to the wall. So it was an 8.5 by 11, regular size paper. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, this looks a little familiar. On it, there's this big, bold writing, and it says, one day or day one. It's your decision. As in, like, take action one day, or you're taking action today, basically. It's your decision. And what was written on the page outside of this big, bold writing it said, action is everything. Nothing happens without action. Action is when you take steps towards your goal. It's not enough to read the books. It's not enough to read the LinkedIn posts. It's not enough to listen to the podcasts. It's not enough to take the courses. It's not enough to ask everyone for advice. You already know what to do. You just need to take the first step. Take action. It's your time. Write your own sales success story. And then right below that, he had written in the name Derek Shebby. My name. So I'm looking at this thing, I'm going, wow. He was inspired by my post, took a picture of it, put it on the wall, and he's looking at that every single day saying, I need to get out of this head trash in my brain, and I need to go after my goals. I need to take control of my future, of my success, face my fears, take action, because that's what you got to do. So when you think about the people that have inspired us over the years, whoever it might be, the people that you really look up to, they had head trash just like you. But what they did that might be a little different than what you are doing now or not, I'm not sure. You're going to have to decide that for yourself, is they took action every day. They went after their goals. They took action. So today's success habit that I really want you to resonate is, I want you to take control of your own success story. You're in charge of your success story. That's the success habit for today. Take control of your story. What are you saying about your current situation? Is it just a bunch of head trash? Are you saying all the negatives? Are you saying you don't have this, you don't have that? You're saying all the reasons why you can't do something? Or are you just putting the blinders on and say, you know what? I don't care what I'm thinking. I'm just going to take action and I'm just going to go for it. Because that's how you go from these stories of struggle to the stories of success. You know there's struggle, and even still, you say, I am going to get after it. Today is another day for it to be the best day of my life. Today is another day to make it happen, to get in control of my destiny, to find that one account, to break into a new account, to close that one deal. I'm getting after it today. I'm going to spend all my time taking action. That's how these legends are made. That's how your success story needs to be written. So I've got 5 steps for you. 5 steps for you of things that you can start doing to figure out how to take action and to figure out which way you can take the most massive action. So these are 5 steps. I thought about this, and if you listen to my last few podcast episodes, you'll see things are merged into one here. But this is all about you writing your own success story. So grab a pen, paper, wherever you take notes. Here's step 1. Step 1 is to decide what kind of story it's going to be. Basically, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what are your goals? What would you really be excited about? What do you want if someone's reading the story of your life? What do you want them to see? This is where this person was, and this is where this person ended up. What is that? What are those goals? And I know when you say it out loud or think about it out loud, it might seem crazy, right? It might seem crazy, but you know what? All the people we look up to, all the people that are inspiration, they probably couldn't believe how far they went either, right? But they kept taking action. But you need to have a destination that you're going towards. Do you want to break records in sales? That's what I was always big into. Do you want to make more money than anyone in sales? That's what I was into too. Is that really something that you want? Well, what is that number? Right? Why don't you set some goals there? Keep in mind, if you want to make the most and do the best, that means you take the most actions. It's always a connection to that, right? There's always a connection to the people that do the best, do the most. So that's step 1. I want you to decide what kind of story your success story is going to be. What is that goal at the end? And that could be goals for your life, goals for your success work-wise, however it is. What are you trying to get? What that ends up becoming is it ends up becoming a goal magnet for you, something that pulls you forward, something that pulls you into action, that gets you up in the morning, that makes you run, that makes you chase that dream. What is that story you're looking for? What is that? What are those goals? That's step 1. Okay, step 2. I want you to write these goals down. Make them a SMART goal. Yep, writing them down matters. There's some sort of science behind it. I'm sure you can hear it on some other podcast about the science of writing things down. Listen, we know it's the truth. You have to physically write something down. And I don't mean just type it up. Write it down first. Think about it, right? And then make it SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, all that kind of stuff. Make sure it's something that would really fire you up, that you'd be excited, that you'd be proud to achieve. Okay, write it down. Okay, the third part is something interesting here that you may not have considered, but I've talked about this in the past. The third part, now that you have the goal that you want and you've written them down, the third part is I want you to consider you're somebody that achieves those goals. And if you're that person that achieves it, what kind of habits would you have if you were that person that accomplished those goals? I know a lot of this has to be thinking about in the future, like what would you be like? You know, and something interesting about this is I looked up habits for billionaires. I looked that up just the other day and I came across Tim Cook. So Tim Cook, he is the CEO of Apple. So he was who Steve Jobs handed the company off to. I think he's like, I don't know, 60 years old, maybe now, something like that. And just recently, just a few weeks ago, they posted his daily routine. So you can actually look this up. And Apple is a $2 trillion company. when he took over, it wasn't even $1 trillion company yet. He's built this thing. It was a great choice. It seemed like for Steve Jobs to pass it off to him. He's done amazing. But what are his habits? What kind of habits would you need to be to run a $2 trillion company, but also to be a billionaire? What kind of habits? You ever wonder that? Because it's habits. If you do the same thing every single day, you're going to get a certain result. Think about habits like that. You can get the book Atomic Habits if you want, whatever you want. It all says the same thing. Your habits turn you into something else. So his habits, just to keep it really, really simple, he gets up at 3:45 in the morning every day. 3:45. I know it sounds crazy, right? Well, I think it's a common thing. The more wealth you achieve, there's a lot of people that get up early. If you want to be that person that achieves this crazy wealth, crazy success, you need to think about what kind of person would I need to become in order to have those results. So he gets up at 3:45. Supposedly he reads 800 emails. I said 800 emails. 800. Reads them all. 800 notifications, whatever it might be. And then from there, he says that takes about 30 minutes. So now it's 4:15. Then he makes breakfast for 15 minutes. So it's 4:30. Then he has someone come over as a personal trainer, as you can imagine. So from 4:30 to 5:30, he works out. So he's working out 4:30 to 5:30. So he goes into Starbucks by 6. And from 6 to 7, he's doing work there. And then he gets into the office, into his Apple headquarters. And he gets in there by 8 o'clock. And he starts his first meetings. So he has meetings supposedly all the way to lunch. And then at lunch, he goes and he sits down with one of his employees that he's never met before in the cafeteria. Then he's asking questions about them, getting to know them, seeing how he can help make their job better, things like that. And then when he's done from there, he goes from 1 till 5. He has meetings for the rest of the day. And then the story went to go far as saying he has to be the last person out of the office. So he stays around until he's the last person to leave. And he leaves at 8:30. He gets home by 8:45 and goes to sleep. Starts it all over again. I know it sounds crazy. I know he doesn't have kids. All this stuff that you could be saying right now, like, man, he doesn't know all that kind of stuff. But the point is this. Listen, you have a story that you want to achieve. You want to be a certain type of individual. I know you have dreams that you want to accomplish. You do. Everyone does. Well, part of the keys of you achieving this dream is you need to start being and acting like and doing the things that person that achieves those types of dreams do. So the third step here, once you write down your goals and you know what you want, you really need to think about what kind of habits would you need to have if you were the person that would be accomplishing those goals. Figure that out. Okay, number 4 is you got to tell 5 people about your goal. Tell 5 people about your goal. I told you guys all my story from Mount Whitney and how it was me telling other people about my goal that kept me accountable. And it was so powerful. I'd recommend you going back to that, the ultimate goal setting hack episode. But you definitely need to tell people about your goal. So tell these 5 people. And then the last part, the last step towards you achieving this is you have to start taking action towards that goal. And the thing about taking steps is you can take steps anywhere in life. You can go towards anything. But if you're taking a step towards your destination and you keep taking the exact step laser pointed towards that destination, eventually you're going to reach the destination, right? It just matters what that destination is. And every single day you need to be thinking, how can I take the most steps towards my goal? So that's it. So the 5 steps again, if you're going to be taking control of your story, that's the success habit. The first step is you got to figure out what those goals are, right? What is that story that you want to achieve? That struggle to crazy success. What is that crazy success for you? Step 2 is to write those goals down. Get them written down. Something about it to write it down. There's something spiritual that happens. I don't know. The third step is think about the habits you would need to have if you were a person that would be achieving that type of goal. The fourth step is to tell 5 people about it. Don't be shy. Tell people. And the 5th step is to start taking action every single day. Listen, when I'm busy working after my goals, I don't have time to listen to head trash. I was telling a rep about this yesterday. I said, I have a mission. You have a mission. This is your life. No one else is going to write your life for you, write your success story for you. This is your life. And if you're listening to the head trash, then you don't have a goal you're going after. You don't have that success story you're trying to reach. Because for me, I'm locked in on it. I'm locked in it. I don't have any time to listen to head trash. I only have time to get after my goals. And pretty soon, when you start doing these things too, you'll just hear people cheering you on along the way, and you'll keep getting motivated by the success you're achieving along the way towards your success story. That's it for today's episode, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to join you in your sales journey. See you next time. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast and you're a B2B salesperson looking for extraordinary results, you have to check out my Outliers community. It's my monthly coaching program where we build the skills and habits needed to take your sales results far beyond your peers and out to where the highest income earners are in your industry, or as I call them, the outliers. Join me in the Outliers community at www.modernSalesTraining.com/outliers. Make sure you type modernSalesTraining.com/OUTLIERS. I'd love to have you join me in my Outliers community. See you there.